Nice to meet you, man.
And you may cheers for jumping on, yeah.
Yeah, all right, man. All good. All good. Um, yeah, it's nice. It's nice to get asked to do something. To be fair, that was with the lads today because we've got this big like homecoming Coventry show tomorrow in
Yeah.
Godiva Festival. So we did like a pre-production rehearsal today, and then the lads had to do a load of press, which is fine because I just sort of disappear and like go and grab a drink or something. But so yeah, it's rare that I get asked to speak, so it's quite it's all right actually. Yeah, don't mind it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, what's your relationship with the band then? Where did that start?
So we all met. We all did a BTEC music course at college when we were like, well, I think I was how old have I been? 20, 21, 22. And all the lads are like a few years younger than me, so they would have been 17, I suppose. Um, and they were like year below me. I knew them like only because you just sort of know people on your course, don't you? But so yeah, I've known the lads since fucking I don't even know. I couldn't even tell you the dates, but yeah, like they were 17, I was like 20 or whatever, and I'm 40 now, so that's 20 years. So I've known them forever. And I was in a band at college. They were in a band they were called Bridges, before they were called the NME. And we did all the sort of local pub circuit in Coventry and surrounding areas. And yeah, we've just known each other forever, really. And then they sort of went on to be the NME, went massive. And the band that I was in at the time, I was in a band called Akeel, and they actually, I think it was on their second record, at Music for the People record, they invited us to go on tour with them, which was amazing. So that was sort of my first introduction to sort of playing proper gigs. We went from playing to like 30 people in a pub to doing the Manchester Apollo and gigs like that. So they give first big step up to me as a musician. I owe him a lot for that. And now here I am playing for him, and it's just mental. Like I was sort of chatting to the lads today about it, and it's crazy how far you come with people. How like you just don't really realize that one day you're going to be sort of we didn't think, because that course we were on, it was like a BTEC national diploma in music. It was awful music course, and we've all come out of it all right. Sort of. It was a weird course. It was like no sort of there was like no equipment or anything. It was like we were sort of like the guinea pigs for the course. So there was like there was nothing really going on. So all you could really do is just like sort of jam with your mates. It was a good
Bit of a
little
mixed bag, yeah.
yeah, mixed bag, but great. But yeah, that's 20 years ago, and now I just feel really old.
I mean, it
So
sounds very broad, like music. Like what did you actually like learn? Was it like
on the
make?
course,
Yeah.
I mean, it was broad. I mean, there was a bit of music production, but it didn't really focus anything proper on it. It sort of dipped his toe into like a load of different stuff. So you didn't really learn a lot. None of us passed it.
Oh,
Like,
really?
yeah, or every single one of us in the NME failed. Well, I didn't fail. I think, yeah, actually maybe just quit music course, which is quite funny.
And we always, what you're doing is other band then we playing guitar in that one.
I was actually frontman, singer, guitarist
Ah, okay, right.
in that band. Yeah. So we started off as a keel. We did one tour with the NME, and then the tour was good, but like I said, we'd just gone from playing pubs to playing academies and Apollos and stuff like that, and we just sort of, it was a big learning curve for us because I don't know, a bit rabbit in the headlights sort of thing. It was great, but we sort of we were a bit more just about excited about going on tour rather than thinking about how we present ourselves as a band and the actual songs or anything. We were good, but it just wasn't. It didn't quite work out. So we'd finished that tour, And then we were like, right, we need to sort of write a load more songs. We need a better name, because people was like, what's the name of your band? And we were like, oh, it's called Akil. And they're like, how do you spell that? And we was just like, it got bored telling people what your band was and like, et cetera, et cetera.
What is the
So
meaning of that name? I don't know.
Akil, so it hasn't even got one.
Right, okay.
No, it was loosely named after someone that someone we knew, or there was an original singer in the band when we first started at college. He ended up leaving, but he knew someone called Akil, and we all smoked a lot of weed. I don't know. It was just a name, but we ended up settling on a band name, The Antics. So we just wrote a load of new songs, and then the next tour the NME did, they invited us out again. So we sort of, Tom was very good. I've always been really close with Tom, and he's always very good. So he always invited us out on tour because we were a good laugh, and he quite liked the music, and he did quite a bit of writing with us when we did the Antics stuff as well. So we used to he bought a farm after like their second record, and we all just used to go over there and rehearse, and he'd come in and go, that sounds awesome, and then he'd sit there and he'd jam out with us, and then we'd record, and and then he'd just always take us out on tour, and we'd have a great time. And but yeah, we didn't really do anything as a band properly. We never recorded an album and stuff. I keep thinking about it now that I actually went to the States with our old drummer a couple of weeks ago, and I was sort of saying maybe we feel like a vanity project. We just record an album now of all the songs that we wrote back in the day. Do you know what I mean? Because we haven't really got any proper recordings of anything. So, I might end up doing that at some point.
Yeah, why not? Like, it seems like a lot of people are doing stuff later in life now in terms of bands anyway, or like, it's more accepted, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. And I think if I wouldn't ever start my own band now to be, to sort of do anything other than just have a bit of fun with it. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I wouldn't, I'd record it for myself, stick it on Spotify to make it easy for people to listen to or whatever. But I wouldn't ever want to start like a brand new band or anything like that. It doesn't really appeal to me anymore.
No, yeah. Looks like you're having a good time.
Mate, I'm having a great time. Like this, I started playing with the NME 2014, 2015, and they were it was a difficult time to go in, really, because the band was they just released they were just recording their fourth record, and I think it was a bit of a it was like, if this album does well, then everything's great. If the album doesn't do brilliantly, then we're probably going to knock it on the head. And it was kind of like that. Do you know what I mean? And
okay,
it was quite a tough time when I joined the band. It wasn't brilliant in the camp. Everyone was a bit tired, I think, of each other, and they'd been solidly at it for 10 years or whatever. Can't remember where I was going with that, by the way. What was it going about? Where was it going about? Well, how did I
was just sort of thinking, what did I ask you there? But that's interesting. So were you involved with the recording of that album then?
No,
okay,
no, I didn't do any recording. Basically, I sort of got. They asked me if I wanted to play, because that record had like a load of extra. A lot of the earlier NME stuff was, Tom could sort of do all the bits on the guitar on his own, but then it sort of turned out with that fourth record, it's automatic. There was more like intricate guitar parts that he couldn't play and sing, so they were like, "Oh, we just need an extra player."
Yeah, did they kind of go from a 3-piece to like?
Well, they always had like a keys player when so I did a little bit of keys and guitar to start off with. I just do guitar now because I'm not very good on the keys, and I think we all know that. So I'm not, this stuff that would probably normally get played on keys, I actually have just turned into guitar parts now. So it suits me better, and I think it suits the band a little bit better as well. And there's obviously less setting up and all that sort of crap. So it's quite nice now that we can just turn up. The four of us just plug in. There's no, there's not really anything special going on there. There's a little bit of track on maybe like 3 songs in our set, but most of it's just guitars and drums. So
yeah.
It's quite rare these days. I think it's quite nice to just turn up, and especially these festivals, because it's like there's no sound checks or anything, so you just got to plug in and play. But
yeah. And then just going back a little bit, like you say, you're 40, so you're probably a good age for all this kind of scene that we talk about on the pod.
Yeah.
So what do you remember about kind of that noughties era kicking off?
What? So you said to me, like, think of like your favorite band from like the favorite album, and I'm like, oh no, I can't, because it's like there's so many. Because like I don't know how old are you?
35. So I'm a bit younger.
Right? Yeah, a bit younger. Yeah, but that I've narrowed it down to 3.
Right. Okay.
So like my 3 favorite albums from the noughties. Number 1 is BRMC, Black Rebel Motorcycle Club.
Yeah.
My second one is Yoshimi Battles the Pink Robots, Flaming Lips.
Flaming Lips, right? Okay.
And then my third one is Antics, Interpol.
Right. Yeah. Is that where you got your name from?
Yeah. That's where I got the band name from. Correct.
Okay. Right.
That's it. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. What about like British bands then? With any particular ones?
Do you know? I was thinking that as well. I was all like, they're all American bands. So I was such a sucker for an American band.
No, I'm the same. To be fair.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, there's just so much good music coming from America.
Yeah. I've always sort of lent towards that, really. Noughties British bands. I mean, obviously, Arctic Monkeys.
Were you bothered about Libertines or not really?
Up the Bracket, man. It's actually one of I always forget about it because it is an incredible record. And it was one of those records as well, wasn't it? It was like it was like they were like our Strokes, weren't they? Really, the Strokes were the coolest band. Well, actually, no, I thought Interpol were cooler than the Strokes, but that was, but I like the moodier side of stuff.
Yeah.
Like BRMC and Interpol and that. But the Libertines first record is an absolute banger. I had it on repeat. Obviously, made me want to buy a leather jacket, etc., etc. We did a arena tour with Libertines.
Yeah.
When was it? 2015? Yeah, 2015, I think, or 2014. Yeah, 2015. And I think we did. I think it was. I can't remember which one it was. I think we did the O2. It was wicked. It was like they were like the biggest shows I'd ever played in my life, and I was like, this is amazing. But Pete Doherty actually owes me a handshake because we walked off because they watched us side of stage and we walked off. I think it was the last show we did with them, and so like I walked off last, and he shook all the lads' hands in the band, and then I like walked off, and I went to shake his hand, and he literally just blanked my hand. I was just like, but I think I think he was just too tall. I just don't think he's really tall, isn't
he? Yes. So I hear you.
Yeah, he's too tall. Missed the handshake.
It's funny. I saw him like this time last year in Manchester, and he stood at the side of the stage in a dressing gown watching the support band. It was quite funny.
Was he? He's always been pretty good for that, though, hasn't he? Like he was, I think he likes music.
No, definitely. I always seem to like. That's one of the things I'd like to chat to him about if he ever did, is like his kind of support for other bands, or younger bands. Sounds like he helped a lot of them out.
Definitely.
Yeah, what was it like? You mentioned like going on tour with the NME like back in the day. I was always interested, like, because I was in a small band they didn't really go anywhere. But I was always interested in bands that make that step up. Like, does the stage become massive of those bigger gigs from compared to like the smaller ones, or not really?
It So when I first did tour support with a key, I walked out on the stage. I was like, oh my god, this is the biggest thing I've ever, and you know, and it's, it was academy side, main academy rooms, so they're not massive, they're sort of like where you want to get to in a band, aren't they? But when you're on stage with the NME, it's such a weird feeling because, especially with Tom, he's so charismatic and he's so brilliant on stage. And considering he's so small, he's massive when he gets on stage. So if anything, he makes the stage feel smaller. Do you know what I mean? And I think because of the way the band is, you sort of, there's a lot of eye contact. There's a lot of cues. Like Tom, he's always done it. I noticed it before I ever started playing with him. Him and Liam, the drummer, he has a lot of cues with him, like with his hands and stuff like that. To let's play this bit out longer and stuff like that. And you sort of pick them up as you're going along. Do you know what I mean? But like, I think, yeah, the only time I've ever felt like scared was at the O2 supporting Libertines, because I hadn't really thought about the size of the gig. Because we were supporting, there wasn't really that much pressure on us. It was like, just get up and play. And we did a few arenas. I think we did about 4 before the O2. And then it was just about to go. We were just about to go on stage. And I was like, oh my God, I'm about to play the O2 arena. And then walked out. And we didn't have, they shut like half of the stage depth. And they put a big curtain in front of all like the Libertine stuff.
All right.
So we didn't have like much stage. So like we were quite cramped actually on this massive stage, and then sort of like looked out, and I was like, I know what is the O2? Is it like 15,000?
Yeah, I think something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was just like, it just hit me hard. So like for the first 2 songs of that gig, I actually don't remember a thing, because I just remember just being like so nervous. And I've been nervous before I've played before, but I've never been nervous like on stage. But that was actually really nerve-wracking.
Well, so it's actually a bit more comforting being on like a bigger stage with more room.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I mean, yeah. I mean, I just feel at home now on like academy-sized stages.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think because it's our stage, and like I said, we don't have there's not a lot of stuff on the stage. There's drum kit, 3 amps, and us. You know what I mean? So there's always plenty of space. But yeah, it's. I'm sure if we did like a smaller. Well, we did some actual like in-store gigs for that 4th record. That was pretty awful. Just like, like just set up in the corner of a room of a record shop, and people stood like right in front of you. But yeah, all good.
Yeah, so have you been doing acoustic gigs with them as well?
Yeah, so Tom, when the NME split up, he was like, after about 6 months, he was like, I've sort of been asked to do some solo shows, but I don't want to do them on my own. He's like, I want to sort of do NME songs, but I want to sort of change the arrangements and sort of strip everything down and play them a little bit more sort of melodic. So he was like, will you play bass, bit of bass? And then we got another friend of ours, Howard, to play piano. And they were great. We sort of spent quite a bit of time on the arrangements and sort of slowing everything down, because the NME's quite punk. so we slowed everything down, and then it was quite funny. We were in like rehearsal room, and everything was all like real sort of like, oh my god, this is so lovely, like nice harmonies and all that sort of thing. And we were like, well, it's an acoustic show, so we'll get there and everyone will be really chill. The crowd will just be nice and chill, and we'll just go out there and just play this nice versions of NME songs. And then I think it was the first show we did. I can't remember where it was. And the promoter came in. He was like, mate, the crowd are going absolutely mental out there.
Before you got on?
Yeah, they were like, it's like an NME. It's an actual NME crowd. So good luck. So we were like, oh my god. Okay. So Tom was like, right, we're just gonna absolutely have it. So we ended up just playing the songs, 30 times faster than we had been in rehearsals. All harmonies gone out the window. It was just like, right, just play like we're playing, play like we're in the enemy. So we did that, and we started, and then we ended up doing a full tour, and every single show the crowds were mental. They had like there was like flares going off and everything. And we were like, and there's usually like one security guard, because they were like, oh well, it's only an acoustic show, so it's obviously going to be a quiet one. And yeah, it was like a riot. But they're great. Yes, we're doing some more of those later in this year, actually, which is pretty good fun.
Well, I'll be interested in seeing that. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll have to come along, man. They're great, actually, because we don't even bring any amps. Everything just goes straight to the PA. We just go out in Tom's car, like the three of us, stick everything in the boot, and then just turn up and play some mad gigs. They're really good, like real good fun.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah.
And then like the bands you mentioned before, like Flaming Lips and stuff, like you must have played with some of these bands at festivals, have you?
Nah,
oh,
never
really?
played with any of them. No.
Okay.
I'd love to play with, like, on a same bill as like Flaming Lips, BRMC, man. So they've just released a like a live album. It's released like about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it's loads of live tracks. It's so good. They're just one of those bands. I just think they're like the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, I mean that Spread Your Love song's got to be one of the best songs of the noughties,
Easily.
Yeah.
And Whatever Happened to My Rock and Roll. But yeah, it's just such a great album. When was that? Was that 2000? About 2001? Must be.
Yeah, I don't know. Like on was he in there? He's in Brian Jonestown before.
Brian Jonestown Massacre, yeah.
Yeah. Because I remember watching that Dig film.
Dig, how good's that?
And we need to deep dive that on the pod, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, you did 100%. It's such a good movie. That guy's mental, but he's still going. Like, not still going, but like he's forged such an awesome career. Like,
yeah.
What's it?
Anton.
Anton, yeah.
Yeah, I think he got a bit cleaned up, didn't he? But now he's like, yeah, he's just doing what he wants by the looks of it. I think he lives in Germany or something.
Yeah, he's got Berlin written all over him now, hasn't he? He's definitely got Berlin written all over him.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. And yeah, like I remember in terms of the NME, I remember like they were one of these bands that similar to Arctic Monkeys, one of they kind of grew on MySpace really quickly. Because I remember hearing the songs on MySpace thinking they were great, like songs like Dancing All Night.
Yeah.
40 Days, 40 Nights, was that something?
Yeah, 40 Days, 40 Nights. Yeah.
I remember even we tried to book them for our local pub. I think Tom got back to us, I think, as well. And he's like, yeah, we're up for it, but it didn't come to anything. But there's obviously a connection there with the crowd quite immediately. Like, it must be cool when you're playing the songs now. Like, yeah, like what's it like playing to an audience that's like so responsive kind of thing?
It's unreal, actually. And I watched a lot of Glastonbury this weekend just gone, watching bands and how I end up watching the crowd a lot as well, just sort of see how they are. But I think like the Cortinas have sort of got it as well at the moment. You see the fans singing every word, and like that's what it's like with the NME. You stand on stage and what's great now is because that what's that, we'll live and die in these towns is you know, what was it, 50? It's about 15, 16 years old. So the people that loved that the first time around and now got kids. So that they come to the shows and they'll be at the front, and there's like 3 generations of NME fans singing along, you know. And it's a and those songs, the lyrics in those songs still mean the world to all of those generations. You know what I mean? Like, and I think the country that we live in now, it's never been a better time for the NME to come back and play festivals and get people singing together. And it's like, you know, it's like being at foot. I don't know if you like football, but like I like going to the football because it's that people singing together that's the important thing. It you know, people want that. People want that sort of tribal sort of like, this is ours. This is what we sing about. And with the NME, that's exactly what it is. You know, you look out there and you just see the passion in people's faces when they're singing it back. And you know, there's not many bands that would get to experience that sort of level of, yeah, like you say, use the word passion, but that's it. That's what you're getting back. It's pure emotion, pure passion, pure, you know, they're on your page. They believe everything you see that you're singing about. It's what they're living, you know. And I'm fortunate enough to be able to, I'm behind Tom. So I get like the perfect view of everyone, because everyone's looking at Tom. He's singing the words, and I can see them looking at him, singing them back to him. You know, I don't. You know, I had this conversation. We talk about it a lot. You know, he's like, it's the most amazing feeling in the world, and people singing back to him. But he also has to get his monitors turned up to screeching level on stage, because he's like, I can't hear myself sing because of people singing back to me, which is, you know, which is brilliant.
It's like the Beatles or something.
Yeah, that's it. And I think, you know, like I watched the Arctic Monkeys at the weekend at Glastonbury, and I think Alex Turner's now, because he croons, he sort of he can sing in behind the crowd a little bit, like they're singing like how the songs used to sound, and now he's sort of, I think, just to sort of be able to get a word in edgeways, he's had to change his direction of singing them. But yeah, I can see Tom struggles to hear himself singing on stage, but that, you know, it's only a good thing. And you know, he gives it everything. And you know, we walk off stage and you think you've done, you know, 10 rounds with Mike Tyson, but you know, you've just sang your heart out to a bunch of people that believe in you, you know.
Yeah. I was watching some videos earlier, and he's maintained his voice, hasn't he, as well, which is like,
Yeah,
it's not always the case with some bands.
No. Well, he doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke.
Oh, okay. Well, did he knock that on the head at some point?
Yeah, I mean, when I say he doesn't drink, he'll have a drink now and again, but he's, you know, he's never been. Well, I think he was back in the day. I think he liked to drink, and I think, you know, I think the industry can get you a little bit there. You know, he went in there young, and was made. You know, he was a rock star at the age of 19. Do you know what I mean? So you're going to drink. And with the schedule and everything. So yeah, I think, you know, he drank a lot, and I think he learned a lot about himself from drinking a lot back in the day, that he just sort of doesn't really want to do it, and he doesn't really want to do it anymore, and he prefers to not drink. And I think that's one of the reasons he's kept his voice, and he also doesn't, you know, gigging scheduling wise, he won't ever do anything more than 2 or 3 gigs in a row without there being a couple of days break. You sort of see a lot of these people that are just sort of trying to cram. They just try and cram gig, and it's like, well, that's great, but you can end up pulling about 3 or 4 of your shows because your voice is going to.
Yeah.
Your voice is going to go. You know, and he's one of those people that he will give 150%.
Yeah, the style of the songs he's got to go for it. Yeah,
absolutely. And like, I think on the last tour, he was pretty poorly. He was like, his throat was killing him and all sorts of stuff. But he was like, I don't want to pull the gig. And he sort of he said to me, he was like, oh, you know, on I can't remember what song it was. He was like, can you take the chorus like vocally? And I was like, yeah, you know, I'll do backing vocals anyway. So, you know, I was like, yeah, I'll give it on the chorus. I do remember doing one chorus, and I was like, "Fuck me!" He sings so high, and I was like, "How does he do? How does he do an hour and whatever of that?" It's and he's like he's a small lad, do you know what I mean? But he gives it so much. I don't understand how he does it, to be honest. And keep it and maintain his voice.
Yeah, yeah. Fair play to him.
But yeah, I think it's don't smoke, don't drink.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's fascinating, like obviously like seeing how like Liam Gallagher's voice has changed over the years and stuff. It's interesting like what people
Yeah.
must do behind the scenes to like kind of like I think he's tried to resurrect his voice, I think, which he's done a decent job of.
Who, Liam?
Yeah, it's not like it's not what it used to be, obviously, but
No, but I think his voice was amazing because he was young, and then he obviously just overindulged for 15 years, and then it went awful, and now he's sorted himself out. But I'm so happy for Liam Gallagher because he tried to do his own bands and all that sort of rubbish, and then somebody just went, "Do you know what, you Liam Gallagher? Why don't you just sing a load of Oasis songs and make songs that sound like it?" Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
Just be who you are, and he did, and it worked. And now look at him.
Matt is killing it, yeah.
Yeah, he's absolutely killing it. He doesn't need to get the band back together, really. I don't think it should happen. What do you reckon?
Nah, not really. I think I think it'd just be a letdown in some sort of way. I don't know. Like, see, they're already like he's playing Nebworth, so where do you go from there? Where would Oasis? How would Oasis top
Exactly.
that?
What they'll do 5 nights at Nebworth. It's like,
Yeah,
that was the peak of their career, wasn't it, Nebworth? And he's always just done 2 nights on his own. So what's the
yeah.
point?
I don't
It'd
think
just be
no one wants
money.
to have. Yeah, it would be the money. Yeah, I don't
It'd
think
be
no
the
one wants to
money.
hassle either. Have you ever supported Liam Gallagher? Then that must have been on the cards at some point. I imagine. Well, I don't know. I
It
should
was on the
imagine. Go on, sorry. Yeah.
So yeah, it was on the cards. I remember this was on the enemy were split up, and it was our first Tom Clark sort of solo tour, the acoustic thing that we were doing, and we were sound checking at the Broodnell in Leeds, which is a wicked venue. And Tom was like, "Oh, just had a call that we might be supporting Liam on it on his net on a few shows." And I was just like, "Oh my god, this is amazing! Like, it's the best thing that's ever happened to me." But it just never happened. I don't know what happened there, but yeah, there was chat about it. There was definitely chat about, but just Tom solo. But yeah, it just never happened. But I don't know. These things come and go, don't they?
Yeah,
You'd rather not hear about it because I'm obviously just like texting everyone on my phone going, I think I might be supporting Liam Gallagher or whatever, but yeah.
But yeah, like the festival, I'm just interested about like what it's like just playing these festivals. Is it just like you get your own little cabin kind of thing and just like enjoy the day? Like what's the crack?
So Isle of Wight was funny as because when you watch Isle of Wight, you kind of get because it's always broadcast on TV, you sort of get this like Glastonbury vibe about it, but it's actually in a school, and
What?
yeah, it's
All right.
Isle of Wight is basically in a school,
Right.
and your dressing room is a classroom.
Right. Yeah.
Serious, man. We were like, I mean, it was brilliant. Like we were very well looked after, and it's a very well run festival, like a brilliant festival. But yeah, it was a classroom that we walked into. It was like, okay, that's a new one. But it's yeah. I mean, yeah. Usually, what did we do? We did neighborhood festival. That was like that was a nice porta cabin. It was like one of the hottest days of all time. So it was
Yeah, is that in
awful.
Warrington?
Yeah,
I
it
think my
was
mate went to that, yeah.
that was a good festival, but they pulled our set. Um, they pulled the plug on us halfway through our last song.
Oh, right,
So
okay.
yeah,
It's not good.
we won't play that again.
Oh, right, okay.
After we did them a favor because we a few of the bands had gone over, not over playing wise, but there've been technical issues. So by the time it came to us, they were like, "Can you play 50 minutes rather than an hour?" And we were like, "This," and we're side of stage ready to go on, and we were like, "Yeah, of course." Like we'll drop we'll just go. Oh, we all just said, "Oh, we'll drop these 2 or 3 songs." Not, can you get off at this certain time? They just said, "Can you play for 50 minutes instead of an hour?" And we were like, "Yeah, fine." And then it just sort of had people shouting at us from the side of stage, "Get off!" And we were just like, "Absolutely fucking not. This is like our last song. Like, give us 2 minutes." And and then they started shouting through our monitors, and then they ended up pulling the plug. So it all kicked off a little bit, but that was like our first festival in like 8 years.
Who was it, like a headliner after you or something then?
Wombats run after us.
Right, that's weird, and they couldn't play a few more minutes.
I know, it was so, honestly, we were fuming.
Yeah, especially if it's like the crescendo of your set. Yeah,
It's like, and the thing is, we'd already dropped 2 or 3 songs to do them a favor, and this was our last song, which is, it's a song that it's this song by the NME. Now this song is about you is our big live song, and to get people shouting down the monitors halfway through it, it was really unprofessional, man. Like, none of us had ever experienced anything like that ever.
Yeah.
So but other than that, the festival was pretty good, but it was, that was a weird start to festival season.
It's interesting because that happened to Lana Del Rey at the weekend, didn't it?
That's right, yeah, but she went on late.
Yeah, because of her hair or something.
Yeah, I mean,
but do you find it's like a stage manager, and do you find some are easier to work with than others and stuff like that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, so Isle of Wight that we just did, they couldn't do everything was just brilliant, but that festival's been going for quite a while. I think Neighborhood, it was quite a new.
Okay, right, yeah.
I mean, I don't know how old it is. It's not. I don't think it's brand new, but I don't think it's been going that long. You just sort of tell a little bit. Do you know what I mean? It was sort of
The headless chickens kind of vibe.
It just sort of felt like nobody really was in control and knew what was going on. Do you know what I mean? It was like one person was saying one thing, and it wasn't getting translated to other people, so everyone was getting their arse in their hands. But I don't know. I mean, we're absolutely loving playing these festivals, so we're just like getting up and smashing. We've got smashing out the set. We're just playing the whole of Will Live and Die in these towns, start to finish, and then a few of the other tracks as well. And there's no pressure. We're just enjoying playing. When somebody starts shouting on the fucking monitors to get off, it's like, we're all sort of saying, like, if you were a new band at that point and you were wanting to play your big single to finish your set, this is your big opportunity at a big festival, and you get pulled like that, you'd be, that could matter so much to a new artist. You know what I mean? It was bad enough for us, and we're sort of quite high up the bill anyway. But it was just really unprofessional. Yeah, we won't play it again. But
yeah, fair enough. Just noticed that picture in the background. Is that like some kind of commemorative thing?
That one there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so that we got given that for the guys who own Academy Events Company, O2 Academy, and that they just give us like a thank you, sort of little thank you, thanks for a great tour.
That's cool,
yeah, no, it's pretty good. One over there as well from the
right, nice one.
From the farewell tour.
Yes.
Yeah. Little thing.
So what does a festival rider look like for the NME then?
Oh, it's awful. So on the last tour we just did, we before festival, sorry, we were like, right, don't want to start drinking too early in the day. So like me and Andy, Liam and Tom don't really drink.
Is Liam the drummer?
Liam's a drummer, but me and Andy bass player and me, like, we like a drink. So we were like, right, well, don't want to start drinking too early, but you sort of hanging around a festival all day, and it's like, there's only so much water you can drink. So we're like, for the rider, let's get half non-alcoholic lagers and then half proper lagers. So you can sort of have a lager in the afternoon without
Yeah.
so you're not peaking too soon. But anyway, that our festival riders are really poor. It's lagers, waters, Coca-Colas, and maybe one bag of Tyrrell's crisps. Between 10 of us, including the crew, everyone's got their hands in it. There's nothing special.
Fair play, yeah.
I think I joined the NME after the days where they had the pyramids of Ferrero Rocher and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I joined after when they had to sort of cut down the spending a little bit. So it's just like you might get a slice of ham and a bit of bread, but and a lager.
Yeah, I remember when they went to watch the Paddingtons in London and the NME was supporting, and we were walking around and the NME was all like crammed in this little room, but they ended up being like a lot bigger than the Paddingtons at one point. So
right,
quite a funny turnaround.
Yeah, that's just how it is, though, isn't it? Sometimes it's and I think when I said to Tom and the lads that I was doing this, they're all like, the Paddingtons are always real good to them and nice lads and etc. So you sort of never know who you're ever playing with, where that band are going to go, or I think it's just nice that people are nice to each other, isn't it?
Yeah, no, definitely, yeah. I remember like the Paddingtons call it the Paddingtons Curse, because I think it's like the NME.
Yeah.
Like the NME, the View.
Yeah.
Someone else as well. It's like these bands that were supporting would end up becoming a lot bigger than them, which is quite funny.
Yeah, they were sort of like the piggyback. Yeah, that's brutal though, isn't it? But that's yeah. I think I was chatting to Matt Bowman from the Pigeon Detectives.
Oh yeah.
He did a DJ years ago. Me and Andy did a DJ set, and he DJ night, and he was DJing as well. And I was just chatting to him, having a few drinks, and he was like, fucking hell, man. He was like, back in the day, he was like, every time we were nominated for an award, fucking NME won it. And he was like, you could just see he was just like fuming. He was just like, oh. But lovely fella, and he was sort of just, he was like, just fucking sod's law that every time, we'd released a great album, but the NME had released an album that year, and it was We'll Live and Die in These Towns, and every award they got. So yeah, I think they might have done a few bands over at that point, but
yeah. But yeah, do you do any do you mix with other bands at these festivals? Like, is there much of a community these days?
It sort of depends, really. I think like the neighborhood festival, it was quite nice actually, because your porta cabins were they'd be like sets of 3. So we were sort of ours was next to oh my god, what are they called? Oh no. In Spiral Carpets.
All right.
In Spiral Carpets, and then the View were just round the corner as well. So, I think, Clint Boone's always been a big fan of the NME, and vice versa. So we had a bit of a chat. We had the Cov game on because it was Coventry, and we're in the playoff final against Luton that day as well. So everyone gathered around my laptop watching the Cov game. And then like Kieran from the View was over having a chat, and it's that. I think that festival is as well. I think because the NME hadn't done a festival for about 8 years, they all sort of said it felt like they'd gone back in time a little bit, because it was like the View, Reverend and the Makers, and Spiral Carpet. Do you know what I mean? It was like a very sort of the Wombats. It felt like 2007 again.
Yeah.
But everyone was just a little bit more sensible. But yeah, no, it sort of depends really, because Isle of Wight didn't really speak. I bumped into James Dean Bradfield from Manic Street Preachers we'd just come off stage and he was coming out of the toilet, and he obviously didn't know who I was, but I was like, "Oh, can I get a photograph with you?" And he was like, "If you're quick." And
Wow.
like
Okay.
I got a photograph and then he ran off. But the enemy have done. Before I played with them, they'd done a tour of Manics, and they were like, "Oh, yeah, no, they were real nice guys and everything." But I think, they were headlining that day, and I think they probably had a bit more like press and stuff to do, so they're probably a bit more stressed out than we were.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like festivals. I really like doing festivals because I think I like going for a mooch, and nobody knows who I am, so I can just mooch about and watch other bands and don't have to deal with anything. So it's absolutely fine. The lads can do press, and I just get to mooch about and have a beer and watch some bands and
All right,
soak it all up. Really, yeah, mate, it's great. Yeah, it's cracking.
So what were you doing before then? Like, do you do this full time now? Obviously.
Uh, Semi full time. Well,
Okay.
no, I also do catering at a music studio.
Right. Okay.
So there's a studio in Ulster called Vader Studios, which is run by a good friend of mine called Matt Terry. And I did if a band wants catering for like 3 weeks. So the last big one that I did was John Lydon and Pill.
All
So
right. Cool.
I did like 3 weeks, like just cooking like lunch and dinner for them. So I'd stay over
What, on
there.
tour
And
with them?
no, just at the studio when they did
Ah,
their album.
right. Ah,
Yeah,
okay.
so it's like studio catering.
Ah, right.
Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah, it's wicked.
Do you chat
Um,
much to him or anything?
yeah, man, I had a great time with him.
No way.
Yeah, we had like so it was in Ulster, which is like a little village outside Stratford, and they, I think it was, so they were there for like 3 weeks. So like the first Friday, they were like, "We're going to go out." So they went to this like local pub in Ulster, which basically made like the local news. Like the local paper, the following week was like, "Oh, John Lydon's in Ulster. But what's he doing in Ulster?" And then the following Friday, they invited us all out. They were like, "Do you want to come out? We had a real good crack last time. Do you want to come out?" And we were like, "Yeah, fucking right." So we went out and like just went out on the piss in like this little village in Worcester with John Lydon and Pill, and it was like mental. But yeah, we did. Who else I've done recently? I did Ride, like Andy Bell. They're a real sound.
So
Yeah,
I've
but
got to
yeah,
ask you, like, is Johnny Lydon, like, is he good cracking on a night out then?
mate, he's such a fucking top fella. He honestly, like, he's everything you'd want him to be,
Yeah.
but real compassionate guy. Do you know, like,
Yeah, I
you
went
know,
to see he did like a speaking tour and I went to see it
oh
near
yeah,
me and yeah, like it really comes over, it really grabs you with like yeah, like you say, like with his passion kind of thing, yeah.
it was the most surreal 3 weeks of my life actually, because so the studios in this most beautiful like sort of it's in like a, I don't think it's like 17th century chapel attached to like its big house that my mate lives in. So there's also a massive residential area that bands stay in, but all the bands stayed in the residential area except for John. He stayed in my mate's big house, so I stayed in the big house as well. So I'd come down in the morning just for like, I was smoking then, but like I'd come down, have a cigarette and a coffee, and I come down and like John Lydon's just stood in the kitchen making himself a cup of tea, and mate, honestly, it was like I was like, "What is my life, man? It is mental."
Yeah, that is
uh,
mad. That's
yeah, yeah, but absolutely lovely fella, and yeah, I've got a lot of time for those 3 weeks that I had.
yeah, that's
It was
it.
yeah, mental.
And so what about in terms of you guys recording stuff then? Like what is it, you've been writing new music or did you just play the 4 albums that are existing?
Um, I mean, we don't even play the 4 albums.
Ah, okay.
We're I, I believe, and I don't know. I mean, I don't really have anything to do with the songwriting or anything like that. It's, you know, it's all Tom really. But I think he's demoing new NME stuff, which I've heard bits of, and it sounds wicked. So I don't know whether the plan is to maybe get it. Where are we in the year? Where?
July?
June.
Yeah,
July tomorrow. End of June. Yeah. Yeah, I think maybe because he's just been demoing at home. I mean, he's an absolute songwriting machine. That kid. He's like, he doesn't stop writing. So I think he's got a backlog of about 4 solo albums, and he's also just started writing some NME stuff as well. So
okay,
yeah, I'm not sure what the plan is with it. But you know, I think everyone's come back since the reunion, and it's been, I think it's been brilliant for everyone, because you know, it was sort of left quite. I think it was hard work for them all in the end, but the first time round, I think, you know, I think they called it a day at the right time. I think they were all sort of emotionally done with it. So I think now the pressure's off. There's no management. There's no record label. There's nothing. It's just them guys. So
right, okay.
I think the organic way is the way that they want to do it. The sort of in-house everything, really, all on their terms. And I think they'll put some new music out for sure, because they're back and they want to, you know, I don't think they're not looking for like, oh, we need to get a top 10 album. It's nothing like that. It's they're enjoying playing live and doing festivals and all that sort of stuff. And
yeah, is that something you'd be keen to be involved with, though?
What, the writing?
Well, just if they went back in the studio,
yeah. I'd look, if they went into the studio and they were like, "Do you want to come and play on it?" I'd be absolutely all over that. But that, you know, it's one of those. You know, I'm happy where I fit in with the band. You know what I mean? I love playing live with the guys, and if they want me to play on record, then I'm there. You know, it's definitely up for doing some record, but I mean, it sort of depends how they do it. I mean, Tom's an exceptional musician, and you know, he doesn't generally need much help doing anything. He's just done 2 solo albums where he played literally everything on the records except for the drums.
Oh, well,
so
okay.
yeah, I mean, you know, his first instrument's a violin, so he's just a ridiculous musician. So but yeah, I'll be all over the studio if they'll let me.
Yeah. Get a catering job at the same time.
double my day rate. Yeah, absolutely. Actually, that's not a bad shout at all. I hadn't even thought about that.
Yeah,
because they would do it at that studio as well.
Okay,
yeah.
I did see it on your Instagram as well. Did he start some kind of radio station?
I did. In lockdown. Basically all of my friends that did music or anything like that, nobody could do anything. So I was like, well, I'm bored. So how about people just start a radio? Anyone fancy doing their own self-recorded radio show, and I'll put it out on my own sort of station, called Community, CMNTY. I got really into it when I had nothing else to do, and I fucking loved it. And it was like, I was like, yeah, do you know what? I really want to do this like more and more. And I know it's probably for the same for yourself with the podcast thing. Do you know what I mean? It's like, and then all of a sudden it was like, it just becomes, I wasn't getting enough back from it from a time point of view. I was like, once life went back to normal, I was like, I haven't got time to commit to chasing people up for radio shows and stuff like that anymore, because I wasn't, you know, it was great. And I actually, it's something I'd really like to do again and start up again, because I just stopped it.
Okay.
But
Yeah, I mean, give me a shot if you do. I'd be keen on that.
oh, really?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I don't know how you were doing it though. Like, was it?
Mixcloud, I was doing it.
Okay,
So
right.
basically, I was getting people to just pre-record their own shows, and then I was uploading it through my own Mixcloud
Okay. So what? So they
account.
included music and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'd be well up for that. Because yeah, a station like an online station messaged me not long ago saying, "Do I want a show?" But they're based in London, so I don't think I can do it. But
you cannot do it
like,
remotely.
well, I asked. I said, very keen. Can I do it remotely? Didn't get a reply. So I
Oh,
should.
who was it?
Uh, yeah, I might take this out of the recording, but it was Islington Radio, is it?
Yeah, yeah, okay, yeah. So I ended up getting a channel on there.
A channel. Okay.
Yeah, so
I don't know how it works. Yeah.
because that's all like pre-recorded shows as well.
Is it? Right, okay.
Yeah, so
Oh,
I said
so
to
I
them,
could do it from home then, surely.
yeah, you could do because I got a channel put onto their um mailing basically.
All
It
right.
was
So they
like
don't have a studio.
I mean they said that I could use the studio if I wanted to, but
All right.
I live in Leamington, I'm not in London, do you know what I mean? But
Yeah, yeah.
um so yeah, I had a channel on so I did so the shows that I'd already put out on my own platform,
Yeah.
I just sent to them and they put them out on Islington Radio.
That's it. Oh, okay. I might chase them up then.
Yeah, you should do. Just say, look, how can I instead of like having like a show that I've got to record in London or whatever, can I have a channel? Because it's everything's like content, isn't it? It's like
Yeah, yeah.
people just want content for stuff.
Okay.
But I'll be up for having a chat about doing something because you know, I'd started it and then I had Tom Clark had his own show and like
Really? I'll be well up for this, mate, to be honest. Sounds right up my
yeah
street, yeah.
um
Or just like, but like, I say, like the idea of, yeah, like just people dropping in and like doing a live session or something, you know what I mean? I don't know.
but I found a lot of people were up for it. You know, you'd be surprised the sort of artists that would want to, if you just go, look, you can play like your favorite songs and just chat shit about them.
Yeah,
No
yeah.
pressure, like just record it yourself. They'd wall up for it because
Okay.
most of these people they've got fucking time on their hands, haven't they? You know what I mean?
Well, you know
Like,
more than me, but yeah.
well, people have got time to do podcasts. They've got time to do fucking radio shows as well. Do you know what I mean? So it's,
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
it's interesting. I'll be up for it.
Well, yeah, we can chat about that 100% because I mean, the all that stuff's just still sat there for me. I'm like, I haven't done anything with it only because I just ran out. I just didn't have time to
Yeah, yeah.
focus on it anymore, and that isn't gonna pay the bills. So for me at at the minute, so I
No,
was
yeah,
just like,
exactly. Yeah.
I ain't got time. But
Yeah.
it's definitely yeah. I spent a lot of time on it in lockdown. I was actually really fucking surprised in myself. But like chasing artists and like stuff like that, I was like just all over it. So
Yeah, cool. I'll listen back to some of the stuff that you did then. Yeah.
yeah, have a little listen through. I can just send you the Mixcloud page.
Yeah, I'll have a
But yeah,
look.
Tom Clark had his own. I think he did like two or three shows. Um, there's a guy on Twitter he goes by the name Secret Drug Addict. I don't know if you know.
Yeah, follow him, yeah.
Yeah, so Alan, his name is. He used to work for like Creation and stuff like that, and built up a bit of a relationship with him. I went down to London, like recorded him, and yeah, he's like photographer, mate. I can't remember his name. Anyway, ended up I got this like 3 hours of this like mental like chat of them just talking about the music industry stuff. He'd
Oh,
be
that was
really good to get
ace.
on the podcast, man.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I might give him a message then.
Yeah, he should do. He's like
Was he there like 2000s era? Or was it
creation.
more? Yeah, was he still there in like the 2000s or was it more 90s or what?
No, I think yeah, well, I think it was 2000s as well.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, he's sound. I was trying to get him to yeah. At that point, I was sort of like thinking about just like I haven't really got time to fucking do this anymore. But I was at that point. There's like I was just trying to get him some. I was trying to get him a thing on Islington radio, but yeah, I think that I think podcasts and radio stations, radio shows, and I think radio shows as well. I think because throw a bit of music in there as well. It's sort of mixes it up a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'd love it. I'd love to like do something with new bands as well, like new music.
Yeah,
That'd really interest me.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, same.
Oh, yeah.
All
right, cool. I'll
yeah,
think about it then, I suppose.
Yeah, Matt, 100%. You've got any ideas over that? Then yeah, ping them over and we can have a chat about that for sure.
Yeah, nice one. And then just finish. Like, what have you got coming up with the band then? Got quite a few more festivals.
Yeah, we've got Godiva tomorrow. We've got like Transmit in Glasgow, Kendall Calling, Tramlines. We got do you know what? We've probably got about another. I think probably about another 8 festivals.
Okay, but tomorrow's the big one, is it? In terms of like,
well, it is, yeah, and I think it could be 30,000 people there tomorrow.
Blimey, right?
I know, yeah, it could. It's a. We're sort of playing it down a little bit. I think it's just. I think today is the day that we've all just gone. Hang on, I think tomorrow's actually going to be massive.
Is it one stage type thing?
One outdoor stage and then a tent. But the NME haven't played it. I think the NME played it. The last time they played it was just tents. It was like a free festival in Coventry, whereas they charge for it now, and it's just grown over the years. And so it's got quite like a big outdoor stage. But so tomorrow night it opens tomorrow night, so it's on all weekend. But we're sort of headlining the first night. But yeah, I think it's going to be carnage. I think the reason we haven't really thought about the scale of the gig is because our guest list is so big and it's been stressing us all out so much.
You hear this about hometown gigs, that it's just a nightmare.
It's the worst thing, man. Like you think, oh yeah, hometown gigs amazing, but it's like it's not, because it's stressful, because all you got to worry about is like who do I need to put on the guest list, and then the people that you have put on the guest list, it's like, what do we do? And it's like, I don't know. And then
the follow-up text, I bet they're annoying as fuck. Yeah.
It's usually my mum and dad, to be fair, but anyway. But so yeah, I think tomorrow's gonna be amazing, but we're headlining, so there's always a little bit more pressure on the headline, whereas all the other festivals that we're doing, we're going in at like 7:30, 8 o'clock in the evening. It's sort of like 3 before headline, and they're the ones, man. We're just going in there absolutely destroying it. And do you know what I mean? There's no pressure on it because we know we're good, and we know the set is good.
So what time are on tomorrow then? Like 9 or something? We're
on about 9, yeah.
The energy at that point though, it'd be ace, won't it?
It's gonna be good, and I think, I don't know. Funny, I'm not going to sleep too well tonight. I wasn't gonna have a drink. I wasn't gonna have a drink today actually, but then I think I think just gonna have to have a couple of drinks. So I won't sleep. I don't get nervous, but I get this like weird like sleep thing where
I know
it's like my body. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's like I know I've got to do something tomorrow. It's pretty massive. I'm not worried about it, but my body is like, well, I ain't gonna let you sleep because
it's like a fight or flight mode, isn't it? Yeah,
that's it. Yeah, and I've always been a fight person. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm always first in, but like. Yeah, I think we've got a bit. I mean, tomorrow actually is quite a bonus because like all the other festivals, you just turn up and play. There's no sound check, but we've got a sound check tomorrow, so I think that'll ease everything a little bit.
Yeah. Yes. And when you say like you just plug in, like, might be a stupid question, but have you got like pedals and stuff like?
Yeah, I have. I think Tom used to use loads of pedals, but he doesn't. He's really just stripped back now. I think he just uses like one pedal.
Okay.
I think he uses like a reverb pedal and a tuner, and that's it. He just cranks his amp right up. Doesn't even use an overdrive. Whereas I'm like overdrive, tremolo, reverb, delay. I think I like to call them like talent boosters rather than pedals. Do you know what I mean? So he doesn't use as many because he's a better guitarist than me. But
right, I see what you mean.
I'll just stick them all on and see. Hopefully it sounds all right.
Yeah, all right, then, mate. That's it, really.
Yeah,
Yeah,
cool.
cheers for that. I was good. I enjoyed that. Good
Yeah,
chat.
nice one, man. Yeah, but I was probably just warbling a
Nah, no,
too
spot
much
on,
on it.
mate. Really good. Yeah, I'll look out, see if you're playing up here again. Then it'd be good to come see you.
Yeah, man. Yeah, if there's any even like festival wise, I don't know what we're doing near you, but I can always sort something out
Ah,
if you want
brilliant.
to
Yeah,
come.
I'll have a look. Yeah,
Have a look, and then doing obviously doing the Tom Clark acoustic stuff later in the year.
yeah. It's probably
Any of
more
that.
my vibe, not my age, but
Oh, mate, you're not. Come on, I'm
no, no.
40 here. You're talking to the wrong guy here. But yeah, if you, mate, honestly, if you want to come to anything, it'd be great to meet up and yeah, sort a few tickets out for a few mates or whatever, and yeah, it'd be great to meet
Yeah,
up. But
brilliant.
yeah, if you want,
Yeah, I just remembered you offered me one last year actually, so I appreciate that. I
yeah,
couldn't go, but
yeah,
yeah,
no worries, man. Yeah,
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 spot on.
any time really. And but yeah, have a little think about the radio stuff or whatever, and we can
Yeah, like yeah,
maybe sort something out there.
yeah. I guess is Mixcloud the best word? Do you think? Is it just
Mixcloud's good because it's a licensed platform basically. You can't the only thing was you couldn't play like the annoying thing was because Tom Clark especially he was like I want to do a show about my favorite album,
mm,
but you can only play 3 tracks from one artist per show if you know what I mean.
right, okay,
So you couldn't do that. But I mean, what you could do is you could put it over instead of all having it all on one show. You could
yeah,
do you could do like a 3-parter for one album.
right, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So because I suppose you on Spotify and stuff you can't put music, can you?
What's that on
So if you
podcasts?
yeah on podcasts and stuff
No,
you
you got
can't
to be
play music.
careful. Yeah, they don't.
Yeah.
Mind you, I've never been flagged for it, but I don't really do it as much now. But I used to put a fair bit of music in. I mean, YouTube's in there, go.
No, no, yeah, they just shut you down straight away. But yeah,
Yeah.
Mixcloud's really good. And it pays the artist if you play the music as well, which I think
Okay, right.
that's always quite good.
That is pretty good.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, Mixcloud's really easy to use as well.
Right. So
But
what's the difference with these links from radio? Is that just online?
that's Mixcloud.
They have Mixcloud as well. Here's links from
Yeah,
radio. Oh,
yeah,
right.
yeah. They do all
Okay
through
then.
Mixcloud.
That must be the way to
Um,
go then. Yeah.
yeah, that's how they do it as well. So, I mean, Mixcloud was I think it was sort of set up for DJs really. I think just sort of live DJing and there's a lot of that sort of stuff going on. You can do it live as well.
Yeah, I noticed their shows are live. Some of them. Yeah.
I think there's something to be done.
Feels like
I
there's a
don't think
gap for it, doesn't there?
yeah, I think yeah, there definitely is. But I'd have a look through Mixcloud, see what else is going on. But I don't. I think there's definitely a gap for especially that the sort of noughties thing that you're going for. I think there's definitely and there's a lot of between us, we probably know a lot of artists from that era. Do you know what I mean? That would be up for
Yeah.
just doing it.
No, definitely be.
And
Yeah.
because I know Tom absolutely loved it. Like
Right. Okay.
he even talks about he's like, oh, I want to do another one, but I'm like, well, I'm not really doing it at the minute. But I was like,
Yeah. It's just like the logistics. How. So Tom would do it, and then
send it to
what
you.
he would literally record the whole show with music.
Yep.
You got to get someone that's that competent though as well, aren't you?
Um.
Like the people I'm thinking of.
Yeah, but
I don't
yeah,
know.
but who are you thinking of?
Well, it's like be some of the Paddingtons maybe.
Okay.
I don't know if they'd be that.
Well, that's the same thing with Al from Secret Drug Addicts because I said to him, I was like,
Yeah.
well, just record me, and he was like, I haven't got a fucking clue what you're talking about, and
Nah,
I'm like,
yeah.
I was like, well, I'll come down and fucking record you, and then end up costing me a fucking 200 quid to go to fucking record someone that I didn't even use in the end.
Oh
But anyway,
wow.
so you know,
You could, I suppose, I
most
could. Yeah, I don't know.
most people can do it,
Yeah.
but
I mean,
even
like,
if
you could record you could record the conversation. You could do it over Zoom, but then I don't know if the
yeah,
quality would be high enough. I don't know.
wow,
But yeah, something to think about.
it's definitely it's doable. Um, But I think most people can they not mix it?
Yeah, you think so, wouldn't you?
Yeah, yeah, you would actually, yeah, to be fair. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Obviously,
I honestly I think there's definitely something to be had there. And I think there's a lot of these sort of, you know, lads like the lads from The View and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? I think
yeah, yeah.
I think
Nah,
we all
cool.
know, even like your John McClure's and stuff like that. They all love the sound of their own voice, don't they?
Yeah,
They'd
like
be all,
he's like, he's mega keen on new music. Like, giving
yeah,
someone like
exactly,
that, give someone like that a new
absolutely.
music show or something.
And then you got, is it Robert Carlyle? He's all over the like new music on Twitter.
Oh,
Have you
really? What
seen that?
train spotting fella?
Yeah,
Oh, right.
mate. Yeah, he's like mental for like new music. You should give him a shout. Actually,
Really? Okay.
yeah,
That'd be
he's
interesting.
bit of an advocate for new bands and stuff
Right. Okay.
on Twitter. But yeah, I think
Nice.
there's quite a lot. I think we're living in a world now where people just want to, do as much content as possible. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking about potentially doing like a live show as well, like
yeah,
an evening with type vibe.
yeah, yeah, absolutely,
Um, Again, like logistics, I don't know how it'd work, but yeah, something to explore, I think.
absolutely.
Yeah. All right, nice one, mate. Well, be in touch anyway. I'm gonna put this out on. It'll go on Patreon next week, and then it'll be on YouTube after that.
Yeah, fair play, man. No worries.
If you're all right with the video going on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
All
fine.
right,
Yeah,
quality. Yeah.
yeah. Nice one, man.
All right, no, I'll let you try and sleep. All
Cheers, Harry. Fair play to you, man.
right, have a good one. Yeah.
All the best, bro. See
In a
ya.
bit.